I was looking to give them the landscape. You do all spring and all summer. I'll put some wildflowers in. That's beautiful. I think you just give great big blocks of pine, just one of the bigger blocks of commanders. I'm smiling about what each do.
Well, based on your first story, they're not gonna know they did those either. Evening and welcome to the regular town council meeting for April 1st, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everybody to join me in a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Moving on to adoption of the minutes. I look for a motion from the council to adopt the meeting minutes from March 18th, 2025.
Make a motion that we adopt meeting minutes from the regular meeting, March 18, 2025. Thank you.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments from the audience or from the council on the meeting minutes? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of the meeting minutes for March 18th, 2025, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, the meeting minutes have passed. Moving on to item number 5, presentations, congratulations and introductions, there are none. Item number 6, public hearing, there are none tonight. Moving on to item number 7, the town manager's report.
Since the last meeting, I've pretty much been 95% working on the budget, getting things ready to for this month's budget reviews and so forth. We were able to move forward with the airport consultant and getting the things ready to issue the work for the 2025 CIP funding. So that's on track. We're in the process of getting our website changed over. That's happening this month, and started the first of probably 4 training sessions on how to basically use the new site. So we'll have that by the end of the month, all the things that go with it, you know, email, migrations and so forth. We had a pre-bid meeting on the Sebastic Street and the Crawford Road culvert projects. There's bids are due next week, the 9th, I think. So I think at the next regular meeting of the council, you'll have those. Then also met with KB Cog, the executive director Joel, and the person working on our ordinance work for the housing updates and compliance to make sure we're on track with all that. So that's kind of what's been going on since the 18th.
Excellent. Thank you, Jack. Are any questions from anybody for Jack at this time? Good. Moving on to item number 8, old business. There is none. Item number 9, new business. Jack, do you want to read resolution 2534, please?
Yep. Resolution 25-34, resolved that the town council take the following action regarding cemetery mowing bids.
Look for a motion from the council. Make a motion that we adopt resolution 25-34.
second.
Moved and seconded. Jack, did you wanna give a
Sure.
debrief on this?
Yeah, so, earlier, it was, in early March, we issued the RFP for, the 2025 season cemetery mowing bids. We received 3 responses to that, request for bid. Those were opened last week and tabulated by our town clerk, Nicole. And I think you have copies of the tabulation sheet. And we had all of the bidders did, fill out both the bid form and then the bid alternate form, which, was on, they all filled out both.
Alrighty, counselors, have you had the time to look at, we have 3 options. One is Pine Hollow, property maintenance, Steve's property maintenance, and Rancourt's Superior Landscaping. The low bid would be Pine Hollow property maintenance, but I do believe.
Yeah, I did have a conversation with, a gentleman that represented that business, and, he did ask about one of the provisions in the RFP. Said that we required, 5 years experience, in, the property maintenance business. So he questioned whether that was, intentional to include, and I indicated that it was, it was included last year when we bid it in, we basically kept it the same. And so, he, decided to, still, submit a bid for our consideration, but, the understanding was that, business wouldn't meet the 5-year experience requirement.
Okay. So I guess given that, I know we discussed some of the options, obviously one being that the town would do the large cemetery down on Beltona Ave. Obviously last year that was we had a lot of feedback and some of the lessons learned, and obviously it was a tough grow season. Grass was growing like crazy last summer, so all those things come into play, and it sounded like the town would prefer to take over that mowing at a minimum, and then sub out the other, what is it, 4 cemeteries, the smaller cemeteries, to a contractor. So I don't know if everybody's on board with at least that much, not that much.
Me personally, I don't think the town should be involved in any of it.
Okay,
I don't know how we're gonna maintain a part-time staff. As somebody that has to deal with staffing quite regularly,
Mhm.
being able to hire and maintain staffing, especially part-time or summer basis, is not gonna be something that I think we're gonna have a great deal of luck with. We can't do it with our current staffing. And if we feel that there is a certain level of expectation from plot owners and families of plot owners in the cemetery, right? Being able to manage that process without a dedicated staff that can get that job done. That's not gonna be something that's gonna go well for the town. I got a feeling that between Donnie and Jack, their voicemails and inboxes are gonna be pretty full. And I don't know if really we're setting ourselves up for success as far as that goes.
okay.
My guy's there.
Oops, yeah, sure. Can you state your name and
Okay.
Where you're from?
My name is Peter Lodgeis.
Yep.
The third. Not him.
Yeah.
Bob and I moved over there for 2 years, 2 summers.
Yep.
And we're more than willing to do it again. So it's what I believe Jim has asked us if we would, if he was able to
Sure.
become the sexton. So
Okay,
As far as needing the help, we did it for 2 years, we can do it another year.
was it just the two of you that,
Yeah, it was just the two of us, and, Peter would mow occasionally,
okay,
and Jim.
and Jim, Jim Allen, you're the sexton, is that correct? And is that,
And we did all of them.
yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to make that known.
yeah, state your name and,
Yeah, my name's Russell Bickford and I live on Library Street.
okay,
I have a lot of relatives buried in that cemetery down there,
yes, sir,
and some of them fought in the Civil War.
yes, sir,
I want to tell you right now, last year, that was a horror show. And
Yep.
I don't know what you're gonna do, but what happened last year is not gonna happen this year.
all right, thank you, sir, I
Yeah.
appreciate the feedback.
Robbie
Robbie?
Steves.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to touch base with some of the issues that we had last year.
sure,
We were getting quite a bit of complaints. I am aware of that. Some of the reason, personally, I feel the contract, going forward, if you guys are going to contract that out, should be changed. Is the Beltoma Cemetery cannot be mowed on a 7-day rotation. Has to be mowed at least every 2 to 3 days, at least parts of it. That's what, from what I understand, that's what the town crew was doing previous years.
sure,
It's just, I mean, I can't say that's the whole issue, but I do feel that is a part, and whether you guys opt us to get it or, Todd Rancourt to get it, I don't think having that listed in a contract for a 7-day rotation is going to set us up for success.
sure,
That's why you can see my bid is $100,000 more, than his. But that's what our plan is, if we are awarded it, we're gonna have a designated crew down there, that's gonna be their only job, 5 days a week. That we're there, we can mow it and trim it as needed, and if we mow an area today, and we notice it needs to be mowed again tomorrow, that's what we're gonna do. Try to go back to the way that it was done previously.
all right, thank you, appreciate it,
I'd like to say one more thing.
yes, sir,
When you're mowing, I've been mowing lawns since I was a little kid.
sure,
You don't mow the grass all over the stones and leave it there. I mean, a 10-year-old would, you don't do that.
all right, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
My,
Yes, sir,
my 2 cents on it, obviously I'll be abstaining from the vote
right,
for obvious reasons. But, we already have the equipment down there that's just sitting. And we have guys this year, at least this year, that are willing to mow and that have done it in the past. And so my suggestion would be to continue with the Steves on the other cemeteries for the 18.
mm-hmm,
They know what needs to be done and what they needed to do in those cemeteries, so they have a little bit more experience this year.
sure,
And let the town utilize the equipment that we have down there and the people that have volunteered to, do it. That's my 2 cents.
all right,
Question, do we have a bid from the gentleman that offered, the 2 gentlemen that offered to know?
they are part of the town crew,
Okay,
so the 3 of them would be taking over basically
on top of what they're already doing?
they're just they're summer help for specifically mowing the cemeteries.
Okay.
So they would be doing a little less than they did a couple of years ago, where they don't have to do the smaller cemeteries out in the outskirts, if that's the way we decide to go. But they'd be strictly focused on Beltoma.
That's how many hours a week, Jason?
What's that?
How many hours a week is that average to do Pelton? For 2 guys?
I have no idea.
We can, Bob and I can get that cemetery mowed, in about a 40-hour week, total 20 and 20.
20 and 20.
And weed, that includes weed whacking?
Includes
No, that
everything.
wouldn't include the weed whacking.
No, it doesn't.
So Jim, what do you wanna do? If you're the sexton, how would you like to
Yeah.
see this brought out? You gotta manage it, right? So Evaluate, you have to say.
Well, obviously, I'm a little biased because we've been doing it very long, but,
I think it's probably a certain amount of pride and.
I'm looking at the dollars and cents, and I think personally, it's less expensive for us to do it. And I think we do a little better job.
Okay. So I think,
Definitely.
I mean, that said, I mean, I think, to me, I think it's probably is a little less money, but I think it's probably gives a sense of purpose and pride too. If you've always done it, and you wanna continue to see it done a certain way. I mean, I can certainly appreciate that too. I guess I don't question the quality at all.
Yeah.
So, and I think the cost would be less, right?
Right.
So to me, I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, we're not, I mean, we know we have the equipment, we obviously have people that have the experience.
Do those gentlemen have other responsibilities in the summer?
I believe they're retired, but is that correct?
I didn't hear.
Is that pretty much your sole responsibility in the summertime is?
Other than cutting 18 cords of wood at home.
Yeah. Oh, that's it? Great. That, sounds fun. Yeah, I mean,
Is that why you don't burn wood now, or?
No, I never.
Oh, you still do?
Are there, I mean, what do we think? I mean, I'm good with. These gentlemen wanna do it, they have done it, they're good at it. So I mean, I guess personally, we have the equipment, I'd like to. Maybe go back to them managing the Peltoma. Cemetery and then subbing out the other 4. I guess it would be between Steve's or Rancor's for this smaller cemeteries.
Yeah. Okay.
So Rob, does your bid include mowing more than every 7 days on those outside?
That is correct. Well, no, that extra, we would have a designated crew just for Peltoma.
Right,
And
so take Peltoma out of the mix for a second. So on the other bid for the outside cemeteries. Does that 18,000, does that include mowing more than 7 times, every 7 days?
that
Or
would be just like we did it last year as needed. The Route 2 cemetery, there was multiple times we had to do that twice a week.
Mhm.
There was the one down on
Route 100.
Route 100, that's out behind the gentleman's house. That realistically, once we get through, last year, once we got into the middle of June, we were able to push that out every 2 to 3 weeks. But they are gonna all get checked every week. And Don Schuett and I, we talked quite a bit last year. And we were kind of in agreements, I believe, on how we were handling that. He did ask me a couple times if we were checking them. We were checking them every week. We were making a judgment call, whether they need to be done or not. If it was questionable, we did it.
Sure. Okay. I guess I would also add, I believe in the 6-month budget, did we budget 35,000 for mowing? I think we did, but can't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Does anybody else remember that?
I don't remember.
I thought we did, but
I think we did because we, yeah.
because we thought it was gonna be roughly around 70,000 for the year, so we did 35 in the first half, and then we were gonna do 35 in the 2020. Or we were gonna do 70.
That's correct.
5 or 6, I think that's what we did, so, I mean, that said. The 6-month budget covers obviously all of the 4 cemeteries, and it also covers a sizable portion of the Peltoma Avenue, which is pretty nice for us as well. But
I'm gonna go back to something and just say it again, and I very much appreciate the job that these gentlemen have done. And I agree with you, the cemetery never looked better than when you guys were doing it.
Absolutely.
I agree with that, right? And again, that's not a knock on Rob and his team first time doing something that's. It's an experiment, it's an experiment, right? To some extent, it's an experiment. I think we're looking short term. And if we. I think at times we look to cut in the wrong places. And I don't know what the longevity is of the choice that we're making tonight beyond this year, and is that going to put us in a position where we don't get interested or qualified bidders in years future? Because we request a bid, we don't go with that bid. And then we don't find ourselves with bids when we do need it. And then we're subject to prices that we could eventually find ourselves are increasing. So my concern is sometimes we take on responsibility where we shouldn't. And I just, what is the cost to the town if we do the Peltomo piece? I understand labor and all that, but that's not just it. We have workman's comp. We have other things, correct, that we have to carry. What's the total nut to the town if we do the Peltomo side?
I mean, I can get you that number, but we have in the proposed 25-26 budget, we have, I think it's like 2,200 hours in there. If we were to have our own staff, and based on the estimate that we just heard for Peltoma, we would have more than enough hours. So that number, for total payroll that you'll see in there, including the sexton, which I don't think is gonna be mowing all the time, because there'll be other things to do. But I think that number is like 44,000. And then when you look at, the overhead on top of that, that's, maybe another 10% on top of that. So that's just roughly the idea. I think we're well in the range of, being competitive on a cost basis. And I think, in the course of a year, the scenario can change and we could be, wanting to do something different. I just think that, we'll always have that flexibility, in any given year to do it either way.
Yeah. I mean, last year was kind of the first year of giving it all out.
Yeah.
This is kind of a mixed bag of things, and if it doesn't quite go the way we would hope, we can always revisit it.
And so
Nothing preventing us
it was
from-
written that it would be on an as needed basis for the alternate bid.
I think what we
It says
said,
minimum doesn't say minimum 7 days,
I think what we did in the,
maximum 3 inches.
I think what we did is, 3 inches, you gotta mow it, 3 inches, because 4 inches. I think was part of the problem last year in talking with Donnie about how last year went. If you're at 4 inches and then you start mowing and it takes you 2 or 3 days, then, the place you haven't got to is 5 or 6 inches, and, that's harder to keep up with than we pegged it at 3 inches. And so that might actually kick into some of the smaller cemeteries needing some attention, at least some parts of it, every week, So it's really a performance standard. We want, when people go visit the cemetery, we want the grass to be short and trimmed and look nice, period.
Right. Well, I guess that was kind of part of my question was, right, are we asking families that have loved ones in cemeteries outside of Peltoma to accept less mowing?
No,
Right, because if the minimum standard was every 7 days, are we doing every 7 days on the
that's not the standard though. The standard is 3 inches.
bids at 7 days, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't?
No, it says minimum.
It's a new bid, correct?
I think it said a
Change.
minimum.
Said minimum 7, even on Peltoma?
I think we said 3 inches and expect that it has to be at least 7 days, or
Okay.
less.
Right.
I think that's how we worded it, is. Anyone should plan on no more than 7 days to get the 3 inches, but maybe less.
3 inches
Okay,
is
so
for controlling.
So even the outside cemeteries are to be done, a
Right.
minimum of 7 days or 3 inches, whichever is more. Or less,
Whichever comes first.
whichever comes first.
Right.
But warrants the assumption that it's gonna be at least every 7
Well,
days.
and I'm kind of going off of something that Rob just said, which was as needed basis, so I'm asking if that's, I wanna make sure that bids are equal, right? And that he's bidding that on that basis, that's all I'm trying to do.
My understanding is that there's probably some cemeteries where most of it just doesn't grow very fast. And they wouldn't have to do the whole cemetery, but any place, any part of that cemetery that's starting to grow fast, they gotta do it because it's 3 inches. But there's gonna be parts of cemeteries that aren't gonna need it every week. We're just.
Okay.
Can I speak on this real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, my experience is that if you go out to the Wilson Road, it's well shaded in with pine trees and stuff, and that was wrong. He was going out there for 7 days and it hadn't grown an inch because the sun had shined and it wasn't getting in there for that grass to grow, so it was, I told him, allow it to go until it gets to that, I think it's 4 inches. So that's one of those case scenarios where some of them are, depending on where they're at, I think some of the grass is different too, it doesn't grow as quick in certain areas, the Route 100 ones, we had an issue one time that it was nothing, and then like 4 days later, we went out and it was like 8 inches tall, it's like, whoa, so, I addressed it, called Robbie, took care of it. And it's just like those other cemeteries, they're not going to, suffer, because I think concentration wise, I know it, because I've done it from experience, I went up there myself in an 8-hour day and mowed all 4 cemeteries by myself. 4 on 1 8-hour day. So I know it can be done, and it can be done, and the attention that it needs out there can be taken care of by a reputable company to be able to do that. That's why it makes sense to contract that out. It's not because they're less visible or we care less about those other cemeteries, is that it can be done, and it can, a lot of these guys trying to fit time in to make sure when we do these bids that they can fit them in, because they're doing other bids too. So if they get awarded 3 other bids, again, sometimes time's at a constraint. They feel the pressure and the grass grows.
It's all the same standard. Pretty much.
I don't feel like this is.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll stop talking.
Anybody else? Anybody in the,
I'm gonna go on record saying we have not handled this properly, but that's okay.
it's fine. Any comments from the audience on resolution 2534?
Yeah, just because you lowball the budget, a bid to get the budget, to get it, doesn't mean you don't have to do a good job.
Yeah,
Would you all agree with that?
Absolutely.
yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the councilors on resolution 2534?
So Jim, would you wanna do all the
Think we do.
cemeteries or just? All done?
Well, the other cemeteries, basically, we knock out in a day anyway, so we pack up a couple of guys and, the equipment and go and just get it done. Most cases, it only takes about half a day. It's not a lot extra.
Okay.
Not really.
I mean, I would think if we're gonna do it, we do it all.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like the bid process is clunky with what we're doing. Some people have some knowledge that others don't. Some people have I think there are some things going on. I don't feel like the bid process is right. And that's why I was kind of calling some things into question, because I don't feel it's.
Can you say more? Because I'm not clear what you're trying to.
Well, it sounds like Donnie and Rob, rightfully so, have had some discussions that have gone for a year. And was that information fully included in the bids? That some parts of the cemetery could be excluded and done whenever we feel like it. Right, versus there's a set. Right, so that's some pieces that I don't think are right, and I would say that for anybody, so I'm watching kind of what's happening, and I think that if we're gonna do it all, or part of it, we should do it all. If we're not gonna do all of it, then we shouldn't do any of it. I guess is kind of where I'm at, right? We either need to jump in full body, we can't just get our toes wet, I guess, kind of what I'm saying, and I feel like we're kind of doing a disservice to everybody, and it's, I feel like we're not kind of handling this properly, so. That's just my 2 cents.
All right,
Jack, your recommendation?
I don't really have a perspective of how things have been in the past.
Gotcha, understood,
I don't.
understood.
We would ask Jacob that too.
Yeah.
So when it was like a little unclear, Jacob had a recommendation.
I mean, all I can say is that it's a positive thing that, we have contractors that are willing to work with us. And it's a positive thing that we have people that are willing to join us in the summertime to do this work, and we have the capability of doing it, so like we have all the options in front of us.
okay, was there another comment? anything?
I actually just had a question.
Sure.
So I'm kind of in the same boat as Jack. I don't have any of the history. So, I was wondering, just for myself and anybody else who is new to town, who doesn't understand how this whole thing came about, why it went, you know, like, why was it not being handled by the town and it went to bid and now it's going back? Well,
Good
How did this,
question, yeah.
how did this flip flop come about in the first place? That
Yeah.
is my concern.
So 2 years ago, come budget time, we had a sexton that was, getting done. He stated to us that his crew is getting up there in age, it's a lot of work. It's too much work, whatever it might have been. He recommended that we, sub it out for whatever it was, 50 grand. And the town just not have the responsibility of mowing those properties anymore. So we went with the sexton's recommendation and we went out to bid. We did that last year. And we're kind of doing that same thing again. Obviously, last year, learning curve, tough mowing season in general. Mowing, 2 times in August is not the norm, but that was the norm last summer. So yeah, that's kind of where we got to where we are, and then somewhere in between this bid process and now, the town crew, has stated that they will do it and want to do it, and will do a portion of it or all of it, and so that, it's fantastic that they want to do it, and they've done a great job. At the same time, it's I don't know, it's
So
unfortunate that we,
So is this the same crew that used to do it?
yes, I believe so, yep.
So
It
then,
is.
just being the devil's advocate, trying to understand this whole situation. Were they ever consulted before it went to bid, or was it all based on the recommendation of the section?
I believe it was based on the sexton.
We were made to believe that it was kind of like they discussed it.
And that's not,
Everybody.
So I was just
You
trying to
know.
understand. Yeah.
the sexton would talk to the town manager reports to us.
No, 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 no.
I mean, not saying that we couldn't talk to them and
clarification.
ask them, but honestly.
So I guess I kind of hear what Craig's saying.
Right. That's, oh, yeah, yeah.
You've got me thinking a little bit. Why was the bid cut into 2 ways? Why was it like your bid for all cemeteries and then your bid excluding Peltoma?
To have options. Yeah, it's the majority of it, it's the most visible,
That's where most of the complaints were.
yeah,
It's because we received complaints
the most,
of
yeah.
that spot, so we think people that are bidding might not want to do it.
Well, I think that's where people wanted more attention for the maintenance.
All right, I guess we need to decide if we're going, half and half, if we're going all down, if we're going all contractor. Donnie, please quickly.
Real quickly, Public Works Director, and I'm also a taxpayer in the town of Pittsfield.
Yeah,
We talked about this a while ago. I agree that, I've said this before, that nobody can do everything cheaper than we can with the people that we have. That's doing all of it. I was told that, I was getting the impression the council wanted to bid it out. They wanted to get rid of it and get rid of having any responsibility for it, but we still do have responsibility for it, because I get phone calls 30 times a day on the cemetery. So with that being said, I think that we can do it, and one of the reasons why we did this was because we thought that we weren't gonna have manpower. We had some aging guys that we weren't gonna have nobody to be able to do the work. I am telling you, I've got stacks of applications that people that have wanted to work at the cemetery since, during and since then. So I think, yes, we've got some good experienced people, and yes, we can mix new people in if we need to and get them the training experience to do a good job for the town of Pittsfield. That's all.
thank you, Donnie. All right. I guess I would.
Say it's all in.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at now, so. Are we all in? On the town mowing everything?
I think if we have the labor, Donnie's confident that we have the labor to do it. Who's running the crews?
Is that gonna fall under your
I will
purview to
be,
do it?
Do the
Jim will
second.
be doing the things, and the section will be doing part of his job is to do the mowing. And I've got other guys that can do some string trimming, so they'll have plenty of manpower and the ability to do it.
Is he staying? Cause I thought we were getting a new sexton. I thought
He
wasn't
is
staying.
signed on.
He is.
He is
He
staying.
said he would stay for another year, kind of, on the outcome.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that.
No backing out now.
Signed all the guys.
Bring the beast there and not be like, oh, we have these crews and now we don't have anybody to know anything.
Nope.
I'm good with that. You know, we can reevaluate after this year.
You good? I'm gonna abstain anyway. I just have, those are my concerns and questions, but I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, and you're gonna anyway. You guys all set? So do we have to reword this to say what we're doing, I guess? Not really.
I think,
I didn't
all
think
need is
this.
a motion and a second to, proceed with whatever way, and then that'll complete the resolution.
Yeah, I don't even know if we,
We don't do anything, do
we don't have to do anything, do we?
Well, I think
Keep
the
it on.
record has to show what the decision is.
So we have to amend.
Open. Well, we already I missed this part, sorry.
You
We
did,
already opened the resolution and discussion and everything.
right,
So it just says, take the following action regarding the cemetery.
Okay.
monuments. Was there anything filled in or was it left? Read as is?
no, that was how it was.
So we can just vote to take the action that we do not award any bid.
There we go.
Right, and then the minutes will reflect that in the
Here.
resolution.
Okay, there we go, yeah. Heather, go ahead.
All right, so, I resolve that the town council take the following action regarding the cemetery mowing bids and not awarding any bids in 2025.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of that resolution 2534, the way it was stated, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. And two people have abstained.
We're gonna hire.
Correct.
We should do a people, for that if we have people.
We got 3 of the 4 right there, so we're in good shape.
Do we have to do a poll? People abstain?
I noted it, and, Nicole will also,
Yeah.
we'll also note that we have abstentions, okay, for the record.
Okay. For the people that put in the bids, we certainly appreciate it and apologize if we've wasted any of your time. We're all trying to work together and. Yeah, so we really appreciate you putting in bids and we hope you will going forward, so
I appreciate
appreciate you guys.
letting me speak for a couple seconds.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, guys.
No.
All right, moving on to resolution 2534. Jack?
Resolution 25-35, resolve that the town council accept the bid of blank in the amount of blank for the purchase of a new truck for the water and sewer departments.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 25-35.
No second.
Moved and seconded. Jack, this is something we have budgeted for the 6-month budget.
Yeah, so in the 6-month budget, this was provided for, split, cost being split between the water and sewer departments. Travis put the bid spec out for the truck that they needed and got responses that I think we will have copies of. And then which provided a base price on the truck, and then further got pricing for the upfitting part of it. Which with a low bid on the truck and the upfitting came up to $67,019. And Travis, I think is more than happy to answer questions about, the truck itself and I guess what you'll use it for and, the truck needing to get replaced and things like that.
There any questions for Travis or the council on resolution 2535 from the audience? There are none. Any questions from the council on
Just
resolution 2535?
what's the disposition of the old truck? What are we doing with that? We had mentioned when Jack came in that, there could be a surplus. We had talked with Donnie in the highway department about potentially moving it over to the highway department, but to be fair, it would kind of be moving one problem, in from one department over to another department. There's some transmission issues. It'll make a great yard truck, maybe a great plowing truck, but it's not really something that, can be utilized for the town, with a lot of confidence at this point.
This is the truck that Tim utilizes, the white.
Yeah, it's an '09
Yeah,
Ford, single cab.
yeah.
Haul some lawnmowers around.
But sure,
I'm just thinking, we just got signed on to a whole different thing, why would we?
They got a truck, they already got a truck.
We've got a bunch of hydrants that need trimming too, by the way.
I mean, like you said, if you're putting one,
But I mean,
Bed.
you're on the road every day, you know.
I mean, it's a town vehicle.
yeah,
What the town chooses to do with the vehicle is really up to the town, but there was no money,
sure,
figured into this bid, getting some sort of, compensation for,
yeah,
the '09 truck.
all right, I mean, I think that's something that Jack and Donnie can talk about, if, which way they wanna go with that. If they wanna, yeah, whatever they wanna do with it, then let us know, I guess.
Got no for something.
Any other questions or comments? The plowing is for the, sewer treatment road?
Sewer treatment road, we have to knock out, all the hydrants too, just
Oh,
like we
yeah,
gotta
okay.
trim them, we gotta knock those out.
You guys do that, okay.
Yeah, we did water tanks,
Sure.
all of that stuff.
What happened on Upper Main Street the other day? Was there a little incident up there with a Audi? Some slide off the. No?
No. But, any other questions on resolution 2535? Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote, all the, okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna be that easy. So so how many miles on that truck? What's wrong with the transmission? We're looking at, so I'm looking at a budget for next year, 473,000 coming out of the general fund, so probably a little blushed, honestly. It's like, how are we gonna do all this, right? We're gonna spend $69,000 or $70,000 on a pickup. I just wanna know, like, where are we at with the pickup we have? Is it $2,500 in transmission work, or is it
Rust is bad.
Rusted out?
I was thinking to use it for public works, and I got looking at it, I'm like, I'm looking at trucks now that are falling apart, I don't need that one, that would, you guys would be screaming for me.
It is pretty, right?
Get it out and get it, $3,000.
So when we buy a new thing, like, are we gonna put like $500 a year for fluid film or some sort of under treatment? Because every time we talk about vehicles, we're saying the same thing every time. Mechanically, this stuff has running gear that's probably, I mean, a truck that's a 2009 is probably worth a transmission, right? Like, to me, I would still run that truck. But if it's rusted out, it's a totally different conversation. It's something you can't.
Which it is, I mean, if we could go another year, if we could go another 2 years, but like, we've milked this. Like probably at least a year probably past when it made sense. We literally just had to replace a water pump that made me cringe. Because I know this is going to replace, and it's the body mounts are completely rusted off. It's starting to eat from the wheel wells into the cab. So I totally understand that.
Well, I work in the dairy industry, so I know all about milking it. So I think we're at the point where it's like, we gotta make sure when we buy these new trucks, there has to be some sort of protocol, some sort of program to get these things rust proof, right? Fluid film, wool wax, whatever you're gonna do something. Because we have these conversations all the time.
Is this 100% covered by the enterprise fund?
Or will there be taxation involved in the payments for
It
that?
can't be taxation.
Right, there'll be none, right? It's all coming out of the water.
Yeah, it's all gonna be water and sewer. It's just split between those two budgets.
I mean, it
Okay.
still all comes out of
It's right.
taxpayer, you know, not tax, but it's
I pay water.
still resident.
I pay the water sewer,
Well,
so I'm paying, I get, it, but
Yeah.
Right.
I just wanna make sure it's not, it's.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think every purchase should be looked at like that.
No, I agree. But it is an 09, you said?
Yeah.
16 years is pretty darn good, you know,
Eric, I'll swap.
but to his point, $500 every couple of years for fluid film. Or every year for fluid films will worth it if it can.
And that, and we can work that into
Get a
regular
few more
maintenance,
years
it's
out
an
of it.
excellent point. We can be well paid.
How many miles the truck have on it?
The 09?
Yeah.
120.
We're running service stands at $260,000.
300.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all about caring.
Well, it's how you're using it, right? You're using that truck to plow, you're gonna be out in the road salt and sand all the time and.
It's also the engine hours there, I mean, the 120 doesn't really tell the
Right.
story. So
Right. I don't want to dump say for 8 hours.
try not to leave their items, of course, but yeah.
It's not like dog's loader. It's just there chugs all night, I hear it from my bedroom window. No, just kidding, Donnie, not anymore.
You come up there and spend 4 hours, or you look at the static, and you shut it off, and then you dump.
Alright. What do we got? Everybody good?
So in this bid, it doesn't include any rust proofing?
No.
I think we probably do figure out a maintenance fund, hopefully, with some.
That's
That come out of your department somehow.
Yes, we will make that happen, it'll be the first thing that we do.
Do it before it comes off the lot.
Dude, don't even take possession.
We'll buy that truck.
Might as well.
Right?
Yeah.
And go ahead, while still there.
Since we're ready to vote?
We gotta put in there. What we're.
Oh, yep. Resolution, reread that with the dollar amounts?
Do I need to read that up?
I think so.
Alright, so it is, resolved the town council accept the bid of Cork Group in the amount of $67,016 for the purchase of a new truck for the water and sewer department. So 19, sorry, I misread, yeah, 19. 67,019.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of resolution 2535, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2535 passes. Moving on to resolution 2536.
Resolution 2536, resolved that the town council approved the agreement with Amscott Bank to finance the purchase of a 3/4 ton pickup for the water and sewer departments.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 25-36.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Anything you wanna speak to, Jarek?
So the way they drew this up and I kind of looked at the 6-month budget and you know, trying to manage the payments. So it ended up being about a 3.5 year financing term. And what we would do once the truck was delivered is we would pay what we have in the 6-month budget down on the truck. And then we would have another payment once we get into the next budget, which would be the FY 25-26. And then, so we're actually compressing the first 2 payments shorter than 12 months apart, saving us interest. And then I think the last payment will be August of 2028. So we'll be done with the payments fairly soon, save as much interest as we can and use the money we have in the 6-month budget. So.
Okay. All right, are there any other questions from the audience on resolution 2536? Hearing none, any questions from the council?
Did we, get bids from other financing places for this, or do we?
I didn't get bids on that. Interscoggin is our bank that we do business with, so I went to them. Most banks don't do equipment leasing. There's only one that I'm aware of, that's in the state. There may be a few more. But I did go to our bank that we have our deposits with for the financing.
All right. All those in favor of resolution 2536, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2536 passes. Moving on to resolution 2537, yeah.
Resolution 2537, resolve that the town council award the quote for the water and sewer department garage fascia improvements to blank for the amount of blank. And again, there were some repairs to the water and sewer shop.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 25-37.
Give me 1 second.
Apparently, yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And yeah, okay, go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
Yeah, so there were some repairs needed to the fascia and soffit for the shop. And the department received 4 different proposals for that work and quite a variance in cost. But from my understanding, the parameters, the specs for the work were very clearly presented to, to all bidders. It's photos, I think you have those. There were photos and different descriptions and stuff, and my understanding is that there's high confidence level in the low bid by Ellen Clark and Son at $3,250. And don't miss anything, Travis. I think that's sums it up.
That sums it up. I made sure to meet personally with John Clark on site, to review everything, that was going to be required on the job. I met with, him and Huey, and everything was clearly outlined. We went over the entire bid and what was the expectations in the work again, to make sure there was no confusion. So, yeah, it's, the building's, seen some wear and tear over the course of the year. And we need to get the boys wrapped to prolong their, usefulness and life.
Have you used that contractor before on any other jobs?
We have not used Ellen Clark, prior to, any of the other, any work around, our equipment. I can tell you that, they're currently working on a building for Casella, a large building that they're doing down, I think it's in the Augusta area. They're putting up a large 50 by 30 building that's covering large container down there. So
they're capable.
so
All right. Any other questions from the audience? Any questions from the council?
Is any of the fascia work done when the roof was replaced? This is the same building?
no, and that's a great point. We're talking about 2 completely separate buildings. The building that you're referencing is the building out at the wastewater lagoon.
2 different garages.
2 different garages.
Okay, that makes me feel better about
This is, yeah, we're not immediately redoing. It's something that was just done, and I appreciate you bringing that up. No, this is the garage that sits behind the highway garage on Bow Creek.
How's the roof on that one? Are we gonna have to go back and do a roof on that too, or?
We're doing the best we can with that roof currently.
Are you having like leaking issues with it, or?
We've requested for, there has, this year, especially with the wind that we've had, there had been some leaking issues, in the roof. We've requested that when, Clark is there, that there is a patch that's going to be done for where a chimney was demoed. And, they'll be up on the roof. He said if there's a couple of places, he'll patch those, no problem. But if there's more, that he'll tell us what those are, and we can potentially look at a change order to have those, plugged, during the project.
Is it a shingle roof?
No,
It's a metal roof.
yes,
And if we do the fascia now and end up having to have more issues on the roof later on, having to go back and do the roof after the fascia is done is not gonna be a problem.
will not be a problem.
Any other questions? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2537, please signify by saying, yep. Got it, yep.
Resolved that the town council award the quote for the water and sewer department garage fascia improvements to Ellen Clark and Son for the amount of $3,250.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of resolution 2537, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2537 passes. Moving on to resolution 2538.
Resolution 2538, resolve that the town council authorize Oliver Associates to utilize the funds of $195,000 for construction and $15,000 for engineering for the MDOT North Main Street Utility Coordination Project.
Look for a motion from the council.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 25-38.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This resolution was discussed at the last meeting, so we kind of ironed a lot of that out. But, are there any questions from the audience on resolution 2538? Hearing none, are there any questions or comments from the council for resolution 2538?
Oh, you know what? So we have not approved everything to be done with the Main Street project, correct? So that entire project has not come before us to be, we're still in the engineering phases, correct?
Are you talking about the entire VPI?
Yes,
Yeah, right.
because this is part of, this is anticipation of, right?
This is just a relatively small piece of the VPI.
But
But it's gonna be taken out of the VPI. It's not gonna be part of it.
exactly,
It's gonna be paid for in another fashion.
exactly.
Right.
But does it not? Does it put us in a position where we basically have to do, because how much of this is gonna disturb,
No,
oh no, this is gonna disturb asphalt. This is absolutely gonna disturb Main Street.
it gets,
Oh, yes, it's moving utilities. It's raising, this is raising.
yeah,
manhole covers.
but it's getting replaced.
Yeah, so DOT is doing this anyways. So DOT has another pot of money, and they have basically there's a clock ticking on that money. And so the DOT is going to bid North Main Street out under a whole separate project by the end of September. And what they found is, and what they're willing to do is add some of the items that were discussed in the DPI, some sidewalks and some drainage and some different things as part of this. But the work that they're doing is in conflict with some pieces of our water and sewer.
Right.
And we just have to resolve it so that where they're putting catch basins in, we don't have the water or sewer lines in the way or too close.
So this is in no means obligating us to go through with,
Nope.
or creating a situation where we're gonna have less than quality roads if we don't.
Correct.
That's my concern,
They got
right?
$6 million with that project, so the state's looking at $6 million.
I drove down Madawaska for 4 years with the worst trench paving I've ever seen. And hitting a manhole cover 7 times, right? Because we started one of these projects and then never got it across the goal line for 4 years or 5 years, right? So that's what I'm trying to make sure we're not doing again.
It's more or less a standalone project.
Right, and because this is utility coordination, this is all coming out of the enterprise fund, you know, it's not the tax commitment, so it's not robbing from paving or any of that.
Understood, I just wanna make sure that we're not, again, we had 2 people lay motorcycles down, no matter what, this is stuff that you don't aren't aware of, right, the history. So we had, my next door neighbor laid his motorcycle down, Mr. Frost, who was injured pretty badly and all because trench paving, right, and it's. People ride in the middle of the road because they don't wanna hit a bump or what have you, I just making sure we're not putting ourselves in that position again.
No, they're gonna be doing all new, stormwater collection,
Okay,
sidewalks, granite, all that stuff, and paving.
so the paving will be done, okay.
Yes, it's all gonna be-
That's all I wanted clarification on, right, because I guess I wasn't 100% clear last time, so that's it. All right.
Rick has
First one to
PTSD.
split it out,
Yeah,
spend the money before they lost the money.
I replaced the smash on my car with.
Yeah, because this was part of what was initially encapsulated in the VPI project. Does this the monies that we're talking about here, can that be applied to our portion of the VPI or no, because it hasn't been decided what that project is yet?
So the way I understand how this will work is that because the DOT is gonna do this portion and it's basically gonna make the size of our BPI smaller. And so if it's a smaller job overall, then our portion of the smaller job will be a smaller portion.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of.
Yeah,
So in a way it assists, but it can't be used towards.
right, more or less.
When are these expenditures gonna happen? Are we I know there was a clock ticking, we had to like commit the funds and say we're gonna do it to support
so
their project, but when do we actually anticipate this from being done?
So what I was told by, to try to drill down into that question, what I was told by DOT is that they have to get this advertised in September. And then they'll probably award it by the end of November, or by November, they'll have it awarded. And then they're basically gonna tell the contractor that they have to have the whole job done in a year. They want it done by the end of 2026. And then it's gonna be up to the contractor to kind of fill in the job schedule month by month by month. And so some of the utility coordination could actually happen on the front end, not all of it, but maybe some of it. So there could be some things that we're involved with in the winter of, 25 into 26. So it's really just gonna be, once they have a contractor on board, laying it out and working with us so that it all gets done on schedule. But they'll have a year.
Our expectation would be that end of town will be torn up all next summer.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be under construction for all summer, I would say, yeah.
Are there any other questions for resolution 2538? Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 2538, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2538 passes. Moving on.
I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. The survey's complete on that, section that needed to be based on what the direction you gave on the last, meeting. The survey's complete, the drafted sheets for design, are complete as well. It is in design, and, delivery is expected to be within 2 to 3 weeks to the state. So, we've fast tracked this based on, the state telling us basically that it needed to be fast tracked. So I just wanted to give you a quick update that, we're on schedule to meet the state's request of getting this out to bid when they're looking to.
Great. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate it. Moving on to item number 10, discussion items. Are there any public comments or questions this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to councilor comments. Start with you, Natalia.
No comments.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Eric?
I just wanna thank Jim and the crew for stepping up to take care of the cemeteries. I think it's kind of a nice feel to it. I mean, I think keep you busy, make a little money, do a good job, everyone's happy. I kind of like it, so yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for everyone else who probably did and way to go, great business, so.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Excellent, thank you, Eric. Pete?
I'd just like to thank everybody in the audience for coming and making their comments tonight. It helped. That's all I have.
Greg?
Yeah, I'll echo that same thing, right? Thank you to everybody, Steve's and Rank Courts. Thank you to you guys for being willing to do that and tackle it for another year at least. We're, you do a good job. We might ask you next year too. You know, we're just gonna keep coming back to you, right? As long as you're willing to do it. But,
At a certain age and it's day by day.
understood. Some days I'm there. Thank you guys very much. And Travis, thank you for coming in tonight. Always being well prepared. Appreciate it. Donnie, you too. So that's it.
Thank you, Eric. Nope, you're not Eric.
Nope.
Greg?
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thanks, Eric, appreciate that.
That's why I got it.
Yeah. Heather.
I don't have anything that. Ditto.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, same thing they've said. Appreciate everybody. Really appreciate the bids and encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. We're just trying to do what's best for everybody and we certainly appreciate everybody. So I think that's about it, but we do have one more discussion item, which Jack will maybe give us a brief overview on our town budget. We're not gonna get into too much tonight, that's for next week.
Yeah, good luck.
Discussion, but
I just wanted to.
yeah, if there was anything you wanted to highlight.
Well, I just wanted to start by saying that, I've spent a lot of my first 2 months, focused on the budget and getting something put together, you know, by now that I think is, very comprehensive. I wouldn't have been possible without the staff really stepping up and, kind of helping me get up to speed on everything, and they've been really responsive to getting me information and helping me kind of understand where, you know, how their departments run and stuff. So I want to just mention the staff's really, you know, been a big part of developing this. And I, you know, put it together in a format that I hope you all find, you know, easy to read, easy to follow. And I try to lay out everything and kind of on the front of it in a summary format with you know, expenses and revenues, and I tried to do the comparison, not so much to the current 6-month budget we're in, because we're budgeting for 12, so really doing the comparison for the 12-month budget that we're working on to the last 12-month budget, which was FY 2024. So you really see that set up that way, so you're really looking at kind of an apples to apples comparison, but right down the middle of the summary, you can see for a reference column what the 6-month budget looks like. You know, just to have that information, but just kind of basically, I try to keep the expense side of things, you know, as basic as I could to kind of continue what we've been doing, and then, you know, looking at, you know, trying to project on the revenue side. There's some changes there that or projections that are different there that, you know, we can talk more about, but you know, we do propose to use a little more, you know, fair amount more out of fund balance to offset that and as best we can. But again, I wanted to hopefully give you a format that's, you know, really easy to understand, you know, the big picture, both on the town operations side and then on the water and sewer side is really, you know, a standalone budgets and how the rates are projected to cover those budgets. So again, if there's any questions on how that's laid out or anything, please reach out to me and I can kind of go over it. The whole point is to make sure that it's as easy as possible to understand, be able to refer to it. So
you had mentioned that there were maybe a few things that you were waiting on the auditor, and we're hoping to have some clarification.
yeah, so what
by
I
the end
did,
of the week.
yeah, so what I would really like, they're pretty close to being completed with our FY 23 audit. And I want to have, like to have at least the fund balance number out of that. And then also what they're able to do usually is to project even the next year's fund balance based on, you know, what information we can give them right out of the gate. So I'd like to have their estimates for fund balance for 23 and 24. And then that's gonna give us a lot of, you know, helpful information as to where we can land in this budget here. So, and I expect, I've talked with them, on a pretty regular basis for the last couple of weeks. And I expect by the end of the week, I'm gonna have that information, so we'll have it, next week when we meet on the first, series of, departments. I should have that for you.
I was just gonna say, this is a very nice format, very well laid out.
I like it too.
The information that you provide is top notch. Some of the information I don't like hearing,
Yeah.
but, it's delivered in a very professional way, and I thank you for that. You can see the effort that the team's put into it, so thank you. I know you guys are working very hard on this. I'm gonna tell you, I think this year's gonna be a fight. There's a lot of increase in a lot of places, and I understand it, right? Cost of living is up. But this town needs us to be very frugal. And, you know, this, one thing I didn't see, and I don't think I saw it in there, is the schools portion that's projected, which you can't put it in there because they haven't voted on it yet, but where that's projected to land, and when you look at that, you know, that's another 1 1/3 mill rate increase on top of the reduced revenues that we're gonna see this year, and that's just kind of concerning. It's, you know, when you put the two together, you're looking at an increase, potential proposed increase, if we were to just go through with everything, what are we, 475 and 390, so $885,000, $865,000. I mean, that's a huge nut to swallow. That's about $3 increase in the mill rate. That's a 15% increase, right? Or 13% increase. That's a huge nugget. It's gonna be something that's gonna be, you know, a fight to the end, and we're gonna have to really seriously dig in.
Yep.
But no, I appreciate all the information. This is by no means a reflection on you or the work that you've done. Obviously, been here 2 months, 3 months, but it's just gonna be a fight, and
as we get closer, we'll be able to, you know, make some better projections about the end, especially when we get some more information on, you know, where we stand with those audits that they're working on, but yeah, it's kind of where we're at right now, and
Right.
it's, you know, best information I have for you right now.
absolutely, no, this is great information. I guess my challenge is gonna be, and I think most of my fellow councilors probably feel the same way. At some point, we gotta check our hearts at the door and kind of get down to where the numbers land. And we all love this town. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. We definitely wouldn't be in this room if we didn't. But, sometimes passion for a town comes at a price, and that's a pretty steep price looking at this, so. Just not looking forward to it, but looking forward to getting into this and figuring it out, so.
I do think the alignment of the school budget and the town budget, that's gonna pay dividends.
It is.
You know, like this, we're gonna have some conversations, it's like,
Yeah,
you get your tax bill, you see, what was it, 58% of your total taxes is MSCD 53?
Yeah.
That's a big piece of it, right, so it's not just
right.
the plowing the roads and the dump and, or the transfer station,
And
sorry.
it's easy to see it. With
Yeah.
them lined up.
Right,
Absolutely.
get them all together at the same time,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a big number.
All right. Any other questions for Jack on the? We'll probably have a lot more next week.
So our next meeting is next Tuesday, is that right?
Yep,
Okay.
and we're gonna discuss,
What time? 6 or 6:30?
well, I hadn't changed it, but I guess we can,
We used to do our budget meetings at 6, but whatever.
you guys wanna do it at 6? Is that feasible? What's that?
We're starting to,
6:30 is better?
Doesn't matter to me.
don't plan around me, cause we're starting a new bar next week, so it's all in the air.
Well, we need you here, so what time do you wanna be here?
My job first, but.
The job that pays him.
Yeah.
It's 6.
This doesn't pay
You
well.
had that chance 3 months.
Yeah.
This job doesn't pay well.
We'll stick to
6:30?
6:30.
Okay.
I'm not here the 15th
Yeah, most of those,
or May 6th.
okay, yep. All right, yeah, so 6:30 next Tuesday, and hopefully residents will come join us and, you know, help us to build the budget. Yeah, to be. I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
Made a motion with adjourn.
I'll second.
I'll second that.